are probably live. I should probably open up another device screen and double check. But, and I guess I will do that just if this laptop isn't dead, which it might be. And maybe I'll just grab my phone, because it's never good to assume that one is live. Always good to double check. Phone was charging on the stand. Okay. So yes, I know that I am probably live, but I will check. Make sure the audio is working. Okay. Sounds good enough. I'll turn the volume down so that I can still see the chat if something comes up. But generally, I can just continue with the stream. So, good morning, everyone. Welcome to... Oh, my coffee. See? This is why I do my intro like this as well. There you go. So, Ernest, now you know what to cut out. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Coffee with Chloe in the morning. Okay. So, it is morning. Hey, I'm Chloe, co-founder of the Marma J Foundation and soon to be director of Marma J Labs. And for, my contributions and support of Marma J Labs specifically, and the Marma J Research DAO and the Marma J Gaming DAO, I'm going to be starting to put together a Blockchain 101 series. I've done a few series in the past, going through like Near 101, like Near Protocol 101. So that's the wonderful near.org is the wonderful website for Near, which is the website I'm at now. But now I'm going to be using the Near blockchain to do a more general Blockchain 101, intro to blockchain type of educational content, at least trying to create this educational content. So generally for me, the first step when trying to create some sort of educational content starts with just drawing out what it is that I would want to know when talking about a certain topic. So again, Blockchain 101 being the topic, and the first module for the course would be just getting started, right? And we're catering this towards developers, beginner developers, in my opinion, students maybe aged 16 to 20, 16 to maybe 22, as we're talking about students who have just graduated and they're out in the workforce, and look, maybe they have a full undergraduate degree in computer science, and they're thinking about maybe getting an internship in the blockchain space, digging into blockchain data or building out smart contracts for the blockchain, or front ends that plug into blockchain contracts. Whatever it is that people want to do, maybe they want to build the cryptography that gets used to upgrade these blockchains and add new features. The idea is, though, how would you get started, and what's the whole idea? So the first step of this is, what is a blockchain? And so I like near.org, so the Near Protocol blockchain. Their website kind of starts revolutionary, simple, right? We put usability first in our mission to change the world within Web3. So you don't even see anything about blockchains at all when you first go to the website. But yes, Near Protocol is a blockchain. And so again, in my definition, I try and not use the word, blockchain or anything too technical. But it is, in my opinion, again, I'm going to be changing some of these terms and definitions. Please feel free to add comments and suggestions. But it is a database where, by default, everyone can read the information that's in this database. So imagine Google Cloud or Amazon Azure or Microsoft Azure or Amazon S3 buckets, or all these things that we use to store our information, our photos with Apple, services, or Google. But imagine everyone being able to see all that information and view all of that data publicly. That could be positive or be negative, right? If we have our private medical records and everyone's able to view them, that might not be so positive. And obviously, this is by default, so there's upgrades to the blockchain that have happened to allow for private data as well. Writing, though, usually costs some sort of fee. Generally, this is the same for the cloud services, but instead of being a centralized provider deciding what that fee is across different services, the protocol, the blockchain protocol, the ecosystem decides what the fees are, and everyone pays them equally throughout the ecosystem. So it costs this gas, right, to change the state. I like thinking about it like it costs gas to drive your car. You can have the car, you can have the owner's manual, you can have all this information about how to use it, but until you actually spend the gas and use that energy, nothing's actually going to happen. That's how it makes sense to me. I'm sure some of these things might change as we go. The system, this blockchain ecosystem, ticks in blocks. And so, again, I think the easiest way to look at this is actually to look at this. The average block time is about 1 second on the Near blockchain. And I definitely assumed I was going to go into more of this because I think it's really interesting. Like, for example, they're trying to talk like the blockchain, building on the blockchain is simple for users, right? So if you build an application on Near, this blockchain, it's going to be simple. It's going to be easy to use. And now you're finally hearing about blockchain, but Near is trying to say that they've reinvented blockchain to save you from cryptic addresses, constant confirmation requests, etc. It's simple for developers, right? You can code like it's Web 2. So again, why am I doing this Blockchain 101 series on Near? The idea is it's supposed to be simple for developers. If anyone's a beginner developer, you should be able to code in JavaScript or Rust with powerful dev tools. They do have a few SDKs. I'm not sure they're all so simple, but there is a lot of documentation for as well. So lots of information about what Near Foundation and Pagoda have been up to. The promise of Web3's finally. They actually wrote Ethereum on the website now. Wow, this is bold. I'm not even sure I appreciate this very much. But anyways, Ethereum has provided a vision of what's possible. But with Near, you can start building Web3 apps that can scale for mass adoption today. While I do agree with this statement, I think on Ethereum you could also build Web3 applications that can scale for mass adoption today. They have layer 2 solutions like Polygon, whatever. I'm not going to say Polygon is layer 2. Let's just keep it at 101 for now. Again, this is just an alpha. If people have questions, concerns about what any of this stuff means. Also, I think that I do want to continue using websites so that people can find this information themselves. So, for example, this is near.org. Again, if Nightshade is the consensus algorithm that's used for higher speed throughput and better scaling. So transaction cost is low, about less than a penny they're saying, 24 million accounts so far, almost 500,000 daily transactions. And I think the coolest part, in my opinion, is the time to finality. So in the beginning of blockchains, when we had Bitcoin coming up on 15 years ago now, the block time was about 10 minutes, which seems crazy to even say out loud right now, right? And there was not really this concept of finality. The idea was in this database of blockchain, this public database where you'd have a clock ticking up, right? But instead of 1 second, right, the clocks that we have now tick up every second. The clocks of Bitcoin tick up every 10 minutes, right? And so to get 6 confirmations in Bitcoin, you need to wait an hour. And maybe that was when you felt the transaction was secure. That was still an amazing feat of technology and cryptography and engineering in many facets. But it was still unreasonable for most applications that we use the internet for today. With Ethereum, I think currently the clock time is around 6 seconds. Don't, get mad at me if I'm incorrect in that. It's changed a bit over the past year or so. It used to be more of an average where it was proof of work between I think 12 and 15 seconds. And now it's more consistent, I'm pretty sure, around 6 seconds. Because now Ethereum is proof of stake. We could talk about different consensus mechanisms at another module. This is not the module for that. We're just trying to talk about what all this stuff is and why do we care. So why do we care about time to finality? We care about this because this is the time when we can actually assume probabilistically and trust mathematically that the state of the database is correct. So if we have a video game and we attack the boss and we do 100 damage and so the boss is dead, within 0.1 wait, that doesn't even make sense. What? Is this a lie? Anyways, time to finality is 1 second, 1 to 2 seconds. I think this is a bit of fibbing on Near's website, to be perfectly honest. Because of the consensus mechanism, you'd have slashing within the previous block if things weren't final. So once the new block gets published, from my understanding, unless there's a new upgrade I don't know about, and maybe Nightshade upgrades have changed things, but from my understanding, the time to finality is about 1 to 2 seconds, right? Because because Near is a asynchronous network, right? So in Ethereum, for example, everything is synchronous. So you have a 6-second window where everything will happen in time with each other. Okay? So if you submit a transaction in the beginning of the block at second 1, or near the end of the block at second, let's say 3 or 4, it's all going to happen at the same, computed at the same time. They might get ordered in different ways, but they'll all be computed at the same time. Where in Near, transactions are asynchronous by default. And so some, ref finance, some decentralized exchange transactions, right? So if you're doing financial transactions on the Near protocol blockchain, there might be multiple hops happening as each transaction's happening. So generally, time to finality for most transactions would not be 0.1 second. I'm pretty sure time to finality, no matter what, would be at least 1 second, because you would need for a slashing event to occur before we could actually trust that something was correct. And again, we'll go back here quickly. If the average block time is 1 second, and you need to wait until the block is over to see if there's slashing happening, then obviously time to finality would have to be at least 1.0909 seconds plus the time to see that. So seems like a little bit of marketing fibbing, but that's okay. We understand. It happens. So Near is climate neutral now and forever. I mean, I don't know what this now and forever thing, but yes, it is climate neutral. So costs very little energy to run the blockchain, and they have carbon offsetting, which helps grow trees or support energy neutral things. Wonderful. Lots of investors. Not that important. Investors are great. No, investors are wonderful. A lot of applications that are building on Near. I wonder if I can name all these. Paras, Metapool, Trisolaris, Origami, Mintbase, Sender Wallet, Ape Club, some ASAP, I don't know, NFT stuff I don't know that much about. AstroDAO, Burrow, Aurora Plus, Ref Finance, Near Hub, Flux Network, Myriad Social, Next, Connect. Aren't they done? Are they still around? I don't know if they're still around. Sweatcoin, WannaSwap, which also I don't even know if they're still around. Satori, which I guess they're still around. This one looks like Sender. What's this one then? AnySwap? What's this one? Oh my gosh, I'm mixing these two up. This one looks like Sender, and this one looks like something else. I'm mixing these two up for sure. My bad. And this one's Skyward. And then you can go to Awesome Near and see the hundreds of other applications. So I'm kind of jumping around here a little bit, but I think this website does give a pretty good idea of why. I'm not really doing a why Near thing, so anything I'm saying here is just why blockchain, not why Near. So Near would say, the Near ecosystem has everything you need to realize your ideas, right? It has community, it has funding, it has projects. There's a tech base, right? Where you can connect to other blockchains through bridges, like Ethereum, Cosmos. You can connect to, like I connect to Polygon, you know, Wormhole Bridge and AnySwap, and you have all these different bridges that connect to Near. So if you're not connected to something now, you can connect to it in a technical way. You have regional hubs where, you know, even if you're building in the Caribbean, for example, like the Marmaday Labs, you can still connect to people building in Portugal, people building in India, people building in the United States. And that's really cool. And obviously funding is important. And you have connection to that as well. And projects are in the center of all that. Now, this is a wonderful idea. The Marmaday Foundation is a project building within your ecosystem. And we have had success in all of these areas. We have gone to Lisbon and hacked there and built community there and all around the world. We have received funding with grants for a variety of our projects and events. We have built, used this tech base and used the Rainbow Bridge and Aurora and other networks to both financially and just through, you know, trying to find new ways to use the tech, for example. So like through Calamero Network, looking into, you know, using zero knowledge in some of our applications. So Near does have a lot of this, but so do most blockchain application networks. And most blockchain networks try and put projects at the center because projects are, you know, what build out the community, what build out more funding pools, which are actually going to the events of these regional hubs, and they're the ones that are using the tech base. So it does make a lot of sense. Oh, that's cute. There's an onboarding team. I am going to click this. I do want to see what it comes up to. We're going to open Telegram, Near Ecosystem Success Manager, and it goes straight to an individual. Okay, you know what? I really like that. That's something that we tried to build out when we were on the Near, when I was on the Near community team, and it's right here looking pretty good. So I appreciate that. And so again, this, in my opinion, is what you get trying to build on a blockchain, in a blockchain. So like, why blockchain? Why? If I just graduated from college and I'm trying to think about what I want to do, I'm trying to get a job somewhere, maybe you want to be a founder. And so why blockchain, in my opinion, is that with projects at the center and everything else around you, it makes it a lot easier to think about being a founder and starting your own project. And so arguably most of what I'm catering my lessons to, or this lesson to, and this is going way too long. The idea is to get all the ideas out and refine the module down, is the idea is we're talking to mostly young founders, people who have ideas of what they want to build, want to get together in a small team and kind of figure out how to kind of build something. And right here for Near, for example, you can just chat with the onboarding team and be like, hey, here's my idea, here's what I'm missing, here are my blockers, here's my pitch deck, here's, you know, my GitHub, you know, what do I need to do for the next steps? And we're going to go through some of that in this course, but you know, this website says it's so easy. You can start today. You can click this button and visit the developer section. I do personally believe that it is quite straightforward. There's a quick start guide. There's contract examples. If you're like EVM stuff, there's the Aurora. There's different SDKs, and like there is a lot available to developers. For example, they have daily calls for the Americas. You can add to your calendar for, is this like Eastern Europe? I don't know. But they have Russian talks as well. Again, similar type of talks as before. Onboarding devs from Terra. We're going to move on. But hopefully this gives an idea. I kind of skipped over to like why, how would I get started? And it's all kind of here on near.org. And we know that, you know, how the block time and how long it takes to do things. And there's a lot of just a plethora of information, in my opinion. But in my opinion, we haven't really talked about how to functionally get started. And that's all right. Because first of all, I want to I'm trying to decide whether we talk about why should I care or just jumping straight into it. I think we're talking about why should you care. Because I think for a lot of people, it's a little bit difficult to start to understand, okay, we have all these projects building on Near, but what are they doing and why do I care about them, and like what type of ideas might actually be useful to start building. So we're going to go again to this wonderful nearblocks.io explorer. So again, This is Near Blocks, NEAR BLOCKS.io. And this allows you to search any account on the blockchain. And so you can search Chloe.near and see everything I've done. You can see, all the transactions that are happening, how many active validators there are. So each validator is a computer around the world who is running the software for this blockchain, for the Near protocol, and is taking the transactions and running them in order to change or affect the state of the database, right, the blockchain. And so we already said there's this clock that is continuing to tick, right? So each second in this universe is actually a different time. So imagine a weird universe where instead of every second being 1 second, some seconds are 1.3 seconds and some seconds are 1.09. But it's always trying to be around 1 second. So these validators, these computers, are, it's like a lottery, choosing which one's going to run the transactions. And then you earn a little fee. So these validators are earning rewards for processing these transactions. And hopefully it starts to make a little bit of sense where, because people are paying gas to run their transactions, and there's been, let's say, 260 million of them, right? These validators are the ones earning the fees every one, well, not every second, but anyways, these validators are the ones earning the fees. And you could see that with a price of Near, right, and that also would create a price of the gas, right? Hopefully it kind of starts to make a bit of sense, right? And there's a certain number of these tokens, almost like a stock, right? And so this graph here also kind of shows the price of Near and how many transactions were, happening on that day. So it's very interesting where you can actually see when the price is low, there's usually less transactions. When the price starts skyrocketing, you can see a little bit of a correlation potentially, where there's actually more transactions as the price goes up. And then it's very, I think some interesting study there. And then as the price starts, so here the price was down, but then less transactions. Maybe the market was getting used to that price. And you can kind of try and make your own judgments there. But what's more interesting to me is actually seeing the validator that's actually processed the transactions, and you could actually see the block that we're currently at. So you can see the blocks are ticking up by 1. There's about 1 every second or so. You can see how much TeraGas is processed in that block. You can even see the latest transactions. And I think this view, in my opinion, really shows what is a blockchain. This is what a blockchain is. Transactions going through, right, from individual accounts generally, right, to other accounts. So contract to contract. So contracts are interacting with each other, and this is the transaction ID, so we can dig in to this transaction right here, and we can see this is the transaction hash. It's a hash of the transaction, so you can take all of the data in this transaction, right? The data is the block height, the timestamp, from, to, the value. Again, all of this information is in this hash. The execution plan, right? Any event. They earned Near learns for viewing a post. They earned 1 of them. True, there you go. It logs this on the blockchain. All this information, right? And then a refund going back to the person who logged in. All of that is going to be stored in this hash somehow, right? And then, maybe we can actually see more of, let me see if I can go back to the same. Receipt, here we go. Oh, it's gonna make me go back. Okay, here's the block. Now you can see the entire block. So this entire block, right, and it has a different hash, right? So everything has a hash. And a hash is just a cryptographic function that's able to, take any amount of data, I suppose, and hash it down, compress it down into a fixed size of random, numbers and digits and letters, alphanumeric characters. And so again, this hash contains all of this data. So there's 9 transactions, 20 receipts. You can see the validator that actually built this I guess block or chunk, the amount of gas used, the gas limit, and the parent hash. So all of these, and this is what a blockchain is. So you have this hash, which is this number on the clock, 303. If you go to the parent, you'll see 302, okay? And again, you can just go to the parent of this one and see 301. And you can go to the parent of this one, and you can see this one only had 3 transactions and 17 receipts. And this was the validator. And look, it used more gas even though it only had 3 transactions. Okay, what transactions were they? You can see them. Rapid Lawn did something else on same person we talked about in Blockout 303 did something on NearHub. And you could actually see everything's public by default. What did they do? You could see more. In the execution plan, it'll show they viewed another post. So they're reviewing lots of posts. Maybe they're viewing too many posts. Maybe this person, Rapid Lawn, let's see what they're doing. They are logging in 3 minutes ago. They did something with partners. They went on Near Social a few days ago. They're pretty active in the ecosystem, it seems. Maybe, right? A month, but then they only did something a few weeks ago, and then a month ago. So maybe they interact with the Near blockchain every few weeks, and this is all public. And so as a researcher, I find that very interesting because now I can write a bot, right, that goes through and searches anyone that interacted with Near Social and Near Learn Club. Let's check how actively they're interacting with the Near ecosystem and what posts are they reading, right? Because if we know they're reading a post, maybe we can add some information about what post they're reading and how's it helping them, and maybe we can start getting some feedback from these people. And any researcher around the world can check all this information publicly. So hopefully when we're talking about what is a blockchain, that's vaguely understandable now. It's this kind of clock that's always ticking, connected to a database of state, and anyone can view this state relatively publicly, right? And to change this state, there's this kind of fee that you have to use this gas for, which is like the Near token. And you know, every account has like a balance of this Near token that they can use to pay for transactions. Now, Near blockchain does have storage, which can be a bit more confusing, right? Storage used, but we're not going to get into that today. That's not a 101 topic for now. And I think getting into like why should I care now can be important, because again, I kind of just talked about why do I care as a researcher about the blockchain and everything being linked together and everything being public, because you could actually just publicly start digging into things that you find important as an individual as you use this ecosystem. So there's nothing that's inherently hidden from you. You can kind of generally have an overview of where funds are, where funds are moving, and so incentives are not only built in, right? You could run your own computer, which is, so let's go to the home page. You could run your own validator that is earning some of these fees, right? Which is a goal of Marmaduke Labs, is to run one of these validators, hopefully very soon. And then every second, maybe you'd see author, right, marmaj.poolv1.near, right? That would be the goal. And then in these transactions, we'd also want to be building applications that are used by our community so that our community can gain value and gain some of the incentives maybe as well, potentially. But also, obviously, if some of the gas fees go back to the validators, that would create a cyclical system, right? Where we could create useful applications that, you know, are earning simply from the fees, and those fees are also going back to the validators, which are securing the network, because these validators also are running software to secure the network. And the slashing we were talking about is when a validator loses some of their funds for not running the system properly. So running these 170 computers around the world is actually quite the important task, because these 170 computers secure the entire network, which arguably is this number here, $1.7 billion, arguably is the value of the network. Again, this is just high level for now, but these 170 computers work together to do this. And the reason it works out is because of cryptography, which is really cool, but for now, we're just gonna move on. And so the next phase of this is kind of like very quickly, this course is definitely going to be catered to people in person, living in the Caribbean. So this type of course is going to be delivered probably in person, with a recording being done in person again. And then hopefully with people asking questions again in person. So if anyone has any questions about any of this information, please feel free to ask. But it definitely is not meant to be a monologue. There's meant to be students present, digging into things with laptops in front of them as we're going through this. Hopefully, searching for their accounts, learning how to, for example, I think right now it's on mainnet, but how do you switch to testnet? I usually use the other explorer. Here you go. So like, for example, learning how to go to testnet, learning how to, again, this one is smaller, learning how to see, look, the price is 0 here and how many transactions are happening on testnet, or you can actually do free transactions for the most part. There's still a gas price, but when you go to the near wallet and you make a new address, I made this about right before I started this stream, blockchain101.testnet, and it starts with 200 near tokens. Why is it 199.94? Because some of it's used for storage, to store my account, store the data from my account on the testnet blockchain. And you could have NFTs here, you could have other tokens, you can do staking on testnet and check it out and see what it's like. So you can be like, okay, I want to stake my tokens. You could choose, let's choose one with, look, some of them are inactive, for example, but let's choose one with a low fee. This one has a nice low fee, right? You can learn about, okay, what does it mean to stake with this validator? Okay, I'm gonna have to get up to even click this, but let's say we wanna stake, too near. I usually don't use my keyboard for most of these things, but we're confirming this right now on the blockchain. This is taking the data, sending it to the blockchain, where one of the validators, like we just talked about, right, is going to, so we should actually potentially see this come up if we view all transactions a few seconds ago. There's a lot of transactions going through, but we still should see it. Let's see. Or maybe I have to even type in blockchain 101. Because a lot of bots running on testnet. Like Zavoldi.testnet doing a million things, as always. But this is the idea. Hopefully, eventually, we'll have our own node running on testnet. We'll have all these things going. Anyways, it was successful. The simplest way to actually see what's going on is, again, go back to your wallet though, check right here, and you could view all this. This is what I usually use, again, to check on what's happened. And you can always see what happened. Deposit and stake was, actually let's zoom in a little bit so everyone can see, so I can see. Deposit and stake was the function called in this B1 stake.pool, right? So this is the pool. This is the transaction right here. And so we can actually see the entire execution plan. We can see the predecessor ID, right? So it was called from blockchain101.testnet. It was received by the function. We can see the block it was executed in and the receipt of when it was happening. So this is all the information that gets logged in the blockchain. Let's see, because this is the part that's most fun, right? Seeing the block it was executed in my opinion, and then seeing all the other blocks that were executed as well. So there was other, so this was actually the receipt. So on stake was included, and there was a transfer, so the refund was also submitted in this block. But you could also see what else was happening. So SpinFi, which is a limit order book, update price happened. And so you can see how there's many things happening in this 1 second where this happened, right? 6 different receipts and 2 different transactions. And node 3 was the author. And so you can even look into that. So you can look into how node 3 is the validator that actually did all of this. So again, the goal is to start understanding how to create one of these accounts, right? So if you want to create a new account, you come right here, you type in whatever you would like as a testnet. Again, this is free. There's no real value here. So I'm not gonna actually make one because I already did this, but actually let's take the keyboard so that we can start showing so we can start showing some things at least. So if we decided to do, let's say we want to do a second module, we would do blockchain 102, we would reserve the account ID, we would say, hey, you know what? We probably don't have a hardware wallet. A hardware wallet is a physical device, like a USB key that allows you to, secure your cryptography related assets, blockchain related assets. But you can use a 12-word passphrase as well, which is also using cryptography to secure your account. So when you do this, this becomes your private key, right? A key that you want to keep secure and private. You don't want anyone to see this. And so, for example, right now everyone saw this. If I wanted to use this, I would actually hide the screen. I would generate a new one that people couldn't see, where you can generate as many as you'd like. And then I would pick one of those. I would save those words somewhere safe, write them down on a piece of paper somewhere you could keep safe where no one's going to see. You could hide them in like a password manager you trusted. Again, potentially if this blockchain account was securing a lot of value, maybe you'd want to get a hardware wallet or another way of securing this account. For now, this is testnet, remember? So on testnet, many times I just send it to my Telegram or my Discord or my WhatsApp messages, right? Because we're just developing stuff. We're just learning here. There's no actual issue. On mainnet, where there's actual value, we might want to secure things in a better way. But for now, because we are just on testnet, it's a test network, it's totally fine just to generate a bunch of new ones, hit continue, and put the word here and get your account. So we're not going to do this for now because we already made one, blockchain101.testnet, but with this account, you could now become a developer and start building on the blockchain. That's literally all you need to do. So hopefully, so far in this video, I don't know how long I've been going for, probably too long. 38 minutes, that's not an insane amount of time. Hopefully in about 30 and 40 minutes, you understand what a blockchain is. There's many, many, many blockchains. So there's Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tether, which is kind of a blockchain. I guess it's a blockchain now. You have USDC, which is like a token on the Ethereum blockchain for the most part. It's also on the Near blockchain and others. There's the Binance Smart, BNB, the Binance chain. There's XRP, Ripple, the blockchain. They all have different consensus mechanisms, different algorithms they use to achieve what their clock looks like. They all have different clock times, but they all do a very similar thing of being a database that links that clock together. And uses smart contracts as the logic for how transactions and functions should be, how state should change. So you have Binance USD, which is a stable coin on the Binance Smart Chain. You have Cardano, which is another chain. You have Dogecoin, the original meme coin blockchain that I don't even think has smart contracts, but does one thing very well. It's just transacting value. There's Polygon, which is another blockchain. It's proof of stake from my understanding, and it's very quick transaction times, more similar to Ethereum though. It's an EVM. There's Solana, which is known usually as like the quickest blockchain, the quickest finality. There's OKB, which is just like a token for like an exchange, I think it's just a token on Ethereum. There's staked Ethereum, just from a relatively centralized provider. Well, but that's has a $7 billion market cap, right? There's Polkadot Chain, Shiba Inu, which is a token on Ethereum, huge market cap. Litecoin, Tron, DAI, which is a stable coin, Avalanche, which is its own blockchain. Uniswap is a token just for an exchange on Ethereum. Wrapped Bitcoin is Bitcoin, the biggest blockchain, or by market cap, right, the oldest and most known, but wrapped in a smart contract on Ethereum, so it can be traded on exchanges. There's Cosmos Hub, there's Toncoin, there's LEO token, Chainlink, which is like a token for oracles, so you can get data, real life data and price data, for example, on the blockchain. There's Monero, which is like a privacy coin, so you can, like we showed, everything's public and you can see everything by default on most blockchains, but on Monero, things aren't public by default. There's Ethereum Classic, where the Ethereum blockchain didn't hard fork, all those years ago. And so Ethereum Classic still uses proof of work, where Ethereum uses proof of stake. There's Bitcoin Cash, which is a hard fork of Ethereum, of Bitcoin as well. There's Stellar, there's Quant, there's Chronos, ApeCoin, which is just a token for an NFT project, which is just pictures on the blockchain for an Ethereum project. Whew. And then you have Near Protocol. And then you have hundreds and thousands of others. Like, this is just the first 100, and there's pages and pages and pages, 125 pages of more blockchains. Okay, Inu and Bazaars and Poseidon Ocean and every silly thing under the sun. We even have the Marma token, right? So when you're a developer thinking about what blockchain to build on, right, you could read cheeky messages like this. Where's that cheeky message that was actually really funny? It was talking about Ethereum. Yeah, Ethereum has provided a vision of what's possible. With Near, you can do it today, right? But when you look at the actual state of the world, Ethereum is the second largest blockchain with clearly the most developer activity, where Near is trying to do something new and innovative, which is very cool, but obviously, a lot of ground to cover, a lot of traction to gain. So yes, I do like doing educational, getting started, blockchain 101 stuff on Near. But if we then go to, and I think this is actually very important to go to, ethereum.org, you will get a wonderful developer section for tutorials, for example. And oh my gosh, there's just, all you can cast, safety rails, turn your Raspberry Pi into a node just by flashing the SD card. I have a Raspberry Pi right on my desk. I can start with that. And in 8 minutes, be done. There's just so many things you can get started with right away and get education for being a Web3 or blockchain developer. Let's get that straight right away. You can learn by coding and just right away get into different sandbox. You can open Remix. You could use an IDE in your browser right away. You can accept this little privacy thing. Don't worry. Hey, actually, you can just decline. Say, I don't want it. Hit next. We don't care about this because we know what's going on somewhat. There you go. You have some contracts. You have a storage contract. Boom. You are now developing right here. Okay? Right here. You can just start the building. Maybe I zoom in a little bit. But look at this. Pragma, Solidity, 0.7.0 to 0.9.0. This is a storage contract. You have a number, which is uint 256. And it's going to store a value, and then it's going to retrieve value. So again, everything on the storage, everything on the blockchain is public by default, and so you have a public view method that allows you to return what this number is. Oops. And so when you call the retrieve function, which is a view function, you call it for, and it won't call it for free, it's going to return the number on the blockchain. And you have another function that allows you to store the number, and that's going to cost a little bit of gas fees, right? But it's public. Anyone can call this function and store a number. And so you can make a MetaMask testnet account, right? You make a MetaMask account, right now. And like becoming a developer is very easy. You get started, you hit iDegree, you hit create wallet. It makes you do this thing. It's very annoying. You say I've agreed to this. You hit create. Now you have an account. It's gonna say do this thing. Just hit next. And it's gonna say, oh, remind me later. Don't even worry about it, right? And then you've done none of this. Okay, boom, and you're there. You have an account. You hit this. You show test networks. Show test networks, please. And then you hit test network, Gourley. So now I'm on Gourley. I go to remix, and I am pretty sure I'm good to go. I'm pretty sure I can just start coding things now, right? Like I compiled the contract. Now, I think it compiled. Oh, just in my workspace. It didn't even compile. This compiles just in my browser, right? And so when I go to, where are we? I haven't done this in so long. Workspaces, dev workspace, publish on GitHub, create new file. No. No. Here we go. I compiled it. Here's the contract. I think I already did it. Compile and run script. Now how do I... There you go. Nope. See, I'm doing this right now. I should not be doing this right now live, but now I used to do this all the time and I'm kind of having fun. You can copy the API. How do I call the functions in it? Contract. No, I don't want to publish on IFF. No. Okay, I forget how to use this, but there are full tutorials on here for how to use this, and I'm kind of sad that I forget how to use this. I used to use this daily to just take contracts. They have a Viper now. Anyways, sorry. Crypto zombies, Ethernauts, capture the ether, which is amazing for like learning how to hack contracts. Like again, if you want to become a developer in the Web3 blockchain space, there's just so much that you can get into right away. They have boot camps, Consensus Academy. I actually would suggest starting with like Chainsaw or Platzi, but they have Build Space, Questbook, NFT School, Pioneer, Speedrun Ethereum. Like I don't even know how to explain how much information there is now. Back in the day, this is all I wanted, to have all this information. Again, we are simply showing it on Near for now, because I do believe it is easier to get started as an entrepreneur in the Near ecosystem. Without as much funding, without as much support from various partners. Now, if you want a job in Web3, maybe that's a bit different. I would probably suggest just jumping into the Ethereum.org stuff and getting started. Whereas if someone's like, okay, you know what, I'm a little more self-motivated, I want to just, I have a little bit of JavaScript skill, I have a little bit of Rust skill, I want to build my own kind of application. I think the Near blockchain is a great place to learn and get started. And yeah, we'll see how the funding situation sorts out at Near over the next little bit. And that's why this is at alpha as well. Because again, this is blockchain 101. Maybe I'll just switch it to be built on Ethereum and it'll be much easier to implement a lot of these ideas. But okay. So since we are here, and I do want to see what this looks like for a new developer. If you did click the developer section, there's a quick start tutorial. Very fun. Let's see what it does for us. So they are putting us through a first app, two main components, a smart contract that stores and retrieves greeting messages, cute, and a simple web app front end that displays the greeting and enables us to change it. So, oh, cool! They have just the Git pod stuff. So let's see how this looks. I've never used this before, so I'm gonna have to have fun playing with this. Authorize Git pod. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, yes, VS Code for browser sounds fine. I don't use, yeah, that's fine. Let's see how it looks. Okay, so this looks like, more what I would just do, right? Just doing it locally. But this seems fun for running a workshop in person. Interacting with Hello Near, that's the front end contract. The account name is in the Near dev account. This is the contract. Very cool. This has gotten really cool. This has gotten very helpful. This is the front end in JavaScript. This is the testing. Oh, this is fun. Integration testing, and then what to do next. Okay, so let's open this first. I've never used, oh, it's like downloading stuff. GitHub is interesting. Gitpod is interesting. I do not use Gitpod regularly, so this is the contract, src, lib.rs. This needs to get smaller. I don't care about this too much. There we go. Let's even go even bigger. Okay, so using Near SDK, Bohr stuff, okay, using Near SDK, log, Near bindgen. I need to just read through the Near SDK, like the Near Rust SDK, honestly, would just probably help me a lot reading through the whole thing. Default message is going to be the string hello. So hello, J. Define the contract structure. Okay, default trait, default message to string. So it's going to take this default message, which is a reference of a string, and take it to string to be the greeting. Cool. Implement the contract structure. So returns the stored greeting. So get greeting is, oh gosh, what did I do? Oh shoot, I ran it wait. Reopen, close tab. I didn't even know what was happening. Hello, Marma J. Okay. Get greeting. Takes greeting, says howdy, and records it. Oh, so it's actually recording this greeting on the blockchain. This is just testing, okay, making sure that whatever you put howdy actually runs as howdy, because you're just testing this set greeting to howdy, and then assert that what's on the contract for get greeting is actually howdy to string. Okay, makes sense. Hello, Marma J Labs, and then how quickly does it? I think I'm gonna refresh nope, I have to run it. Run and debug. What? I shouldn't need all that. How do you run it? Built. Terminal. Oh, make the terminal a bit bigger. Oh, it started right away. npm run start. Do I have to write it myself? So this was the account ID it built on. That's the contract. I love how it just did it without me even logging in with the Near account. It's just letting me build. Near has gotten a lot better. But I don't use Gitpod enough, in my opinion. like, whoops, what did I do? New terminal. Like, do I have to because it just ran the first time so simply. And when I refresh, it doesn't run it again. So I feel like I have to, it doesn't let me type either. Dang it. How do you just tell it to run again? Oh. Nope. This is confusing. Oh, ha, I have it. Okay. npm run start. Okay. Okay, so it opened it up on a new port, and this should be it. Nope. This is interesting. Oh, it doesn't autosave. Ha. It doesn't autosave. How do you tell it to autosave? File? Oh, it does. Okay, well, I saved it manually this time. And let's see if that works. Just refreshing. Let's see if maybe just Control T. Nope, Control T opens up a new tab. Doing this in my terminal is much easier, in my opinion. But I feel like learning how to do this on GitLab, I'm just kind of having fun now. So, new terminal. Maybe I do just find some. I kind of just want it to run. I guess it's like, I don't use VS Code enough for this either. I usually just do everything locally. But, did I break something? Dang it, I broke something, didn't I? Yeah, hello, Laundry Labs. And then, oh! No, I gotta rebuild the contract. Ha! It's, how do I get the terminal back? Man, this is actually kind of difficult to use. Maybe I'll just do this differently in like the next module. Yeah, and the next module is actually using this stuff. For today, I kind of just wanted to honestly, so, again, something else to maybe skip Ernest, but I just thought the quick start tutorial was much cooler than I thought it was going to be. Generally though, let's see. Wow, that actually gives you a full thing. Generally just going to near CLI and learning how to just start logging into a near account and start looking around to what's happening. So the main commands for near CLI, the near command line interface are near login, so you can log into your account. Near keys, which displays all the keys and their details. So for example, logging in stores a full access key. If someone else had a full access key, you'd be able to log in and see what's there. Generate key generates a local pair or shows public key and implicit account. So that could be generating a new key, adding new access keys to account, and then deleting a certain key. So if you display all the keys and then you want to delete a key, that works as well. If you want to add a few keys and then delete a certain key after you've looked at them, that works as well. And then generate key is a little bit different. I will kind of just hop down to it. So where's the way to use it? So yeah, generate key generally is for creating like a new account, my understanding. So usually you give it an account ID. So if I want to do like Chloe, like Chloe.blockchain101.testnet, I think that's when I would use generate key. Yeah, reference examples are definitely what I would use here. But we are going to start just quickly with some basic commands. So let's just try some basic things. So near login. See if it takes us to testnet or mainnet. It took us to mainnet. So because this took us to mainnet, we have to actually exit. We'll go back, and then we'll just it's right here. But when you're starting to actually use near CLI, you have to actually make sure you install npm, you install node. Then you use npm install -g near CLI. Now I already have near CLI installed, so I would probably just check my version, and so this is what I would use here, right? So I have 3.4.0, so I know I already have it, and so you can see if I'm outdated. Let's check, right? It does say I have something available to update to, but it says this is where I currently am, this is where it wants me to be, right? So I'm a bit further behind, and for npm, I am also a bit behind. So it gives me a command right here actually that I can use. So let's use that one to make sure we're using the right near CLI. And then I have to update my npm, and I forget how to do that actually. So let's just Google it quickly. Let's use this one. Update. Is it npm I'm doing? There you go. I think I'm going to latest. Oh, didn't like it? Required current. Oh, I don't even have. Wait, I'm at node 15.8. And it wants me to be at, what node does near want me to be at? Let's see. Ensure you have node 12 or above. Let's see. No, I don't want to do any of this. Why is this so complicated? Okay, what version of Node am I using? That's so weird. Wait, yeah, 15.8. Do I want to be at a... Fun. I thought I already... Oh, I'm on Mac on this machine. I keep forgetting. Oh gosh, this is my Mac. This is why I'm so confused. Sorry, I never dev on this machine. I completely forgot. I already have Node installed. What am I talking about? Oh my gosh, I don't even... Okay, yeah. Homebrew isn't updated. Okay, I need to stop this stream because I think that I completely forgot that I was on my Mac. And I thought I was on my Linux machine. And
Anyways, I got through most of what I wanted to get through until I got to the near CLI stuff. The main things I wanted to talk about though were pretty much gone over in this quick start guide actually, which I think is actually where I'm going to go to the next time I do this, is just kind of clarifying that you can get started right away. And generally, the first thing to get started is you need a testnet account. Now you don't even need that because you can just try it right away in Gitpod. I need to practice Gitpod more. I think that's kind of my next step as well, is just watching some tutorials on Gitpod, making sure I can kind of run through things a bit quicker. Like redeploying the contract locally is just a command, but on Gitpod, I can barely open it to any terminal, so that's one thing. Trying it locally is pretty straightforward, and I guess arguably easier since you wouldn't need Wi-Fi just to like try it locally and test it out. So I'll probably actually use that more often. Yeah, this is the application in the front end. This is the front end code that I wanted to change. Actually, I kind of forgot about that. So the front end stuff is here. Not the assets. We're looking for index, and there you go. This is the information that we're looking to change. So you could actually already start being like, welcome to watching 101 with Chloethedev. There you go. Oh, it doesn't like it, eh? I have to oh gosh, I forget JavaScript too much. I need to, yeah. Sign in with Near Wallet, basic enough. Maybe we can just like change it to be like, click here to sign in. Change greeting. Look at that. Okay, yeah, that's boring. No, what I need this to do is runs. But why when I called? Okay, first thing, how do I open a terminal? Terminal, new terminal. Oh, it's the same command as, okay, that's silly. npm run start is starting the app, which will change the words, but won't change what's on the contract, right? Yeah, so it changed what's here, it changes here, but it does not change what's on the contract. The contract still says, it actually makes me sign in. It doesn't use wallet.inner.org, it only uses my Near Wallet, which is crazy. So I'm going to import existing account. I'm going to use the passphrase. I'm going to go to my saved messages. Hopefully this works simply. Alright, so we're going to log in to this dev contract that got deployed. And then I can change it. The reason it wasn't changing, I guess this is a good just teaching moment, is because I had to redeploy the contract and I forgot the command to do that. I'm just not going to do it right now. But changing what's on the contract does not change what's on the front end displayed to everyone. If you want it to say, hello Marma J Labs, you have to actually save that. Right? And now it'll say, hello Marma J Labs, automatically. If I want to say this, it'll update. And so you can almost see how you can create a little like, a drawing game right now where or Battleship, right? If I said, B4, and I hit save. And maybe you could see that there'd be a grid, and there'd be some logic that connected to a grid on the blockchain, and you know, as you hit save B4 and that went to the blockchain, it would know to hit a grid, because B4 would actually return a grid position. And if maybe there was some storage on that grid position, like a ship, there would be, you know, 1 out of 3 of that ship loses its health. And each ship has a health point, and when the ship's health goes to 0, yeah, so you can think of ways to build that. And so, yeah, it really is that straightforward to get started. And hopefully, you know, you can sign out, log into a different account, and do it all here. That was pretty fun. I'll use Github, Gitpod a little more, but hope this was useful for some people. It was useful for me to go through the lesson. The actual lesson is probably going to start closer to February, hopefully, or March in person. And so I'm probably going to run through a few modules like this, just very casually for now. So I am going to take the note for Gitpod. Whoops. And that's about it. I think that was the main benefit here. I mean, there was also Pagoda, and Pagoda does let you kind of log in and go to Pagoda console and do all these things and look into your contracts. But honestly, Pagoda console is more of like another module for later on, of like after you've already decided on a topic. I think the next module will be digging into Gitpod a little more and digging into like what does it actually take to think of a project. Like, so talking more about the next module we'll be going through probably going through a lot of the information on this tab here. Talking about like what is a hacker and what is a hackathon, and hopefully talking about like having like a hacker's mindset and thinking about being an entrepreneur in the Web3 space. We generally have this like Marmaj EDU section where you can like, you know, talk about getting a NEAR account, different types of account, what does it mean, what, you know, talking about Ethereum and tweets and like digging into more computer science topics, you know, going through Vim and code editors, going through computer science topics in general. And I'm just gonna highlight these things, but I think the idea is trying to think about how to start earning your first bounties in the blockchain space. So this topic was blockchain 101, like what is blockchain? And so I'm going to export as PDF. Oh, it's not letting me export as PDF. That's not cool. It keeps wanting me to do a free trial. Okay, so I might as well like take a picture of this board that I created and just use something simpler for next time. I was using live boards trying to just get it done. Wasn't very efficient. I'll take a picture of it. But the idea is that the next topic will just be how to start earning some bounties, how to start figuring out how to translate from, you know, building your first demo app. Maybe that's more the topic, like how to build your first demo blockchain application. But yeah, hopefully it was helpful, and I'll probably stream that beginning of next week. So